Rabbi Kaplan.
We were talking last time about the mordchai that he was one of the biggest geniuses there was in the last, I don't know how many years. And we were talking about his ideas about the torah, the last generation, this kufa of the last 60 years that we're in. He died at around 1955, and he told people that the last door, the last nisayon, the last test that we're going to go through is going to be the test of Zionism. And because of that, he said it's not rumors. There's no hint to this last kufa of the Golus, not in the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ksuvim. There are hints about it, but they're very hidden. But there's no place where we could find it more clear. And the reason is because the last kufa that we're going through now is not the kufa of persecution, but it's the kufa of nisayon. Nisayon means a test. When Hashem tests a person, He doesn't reveal to him what's going to happen. The person is not supposed to know what's going to happen. It's supposed to be hidden, and he's supposed to stand there and go through the test. That's why this last kufa is a test that the Rishonim were successful in their war. The war is a war against Hashem. There's another difference between this kufa and the whole Golus is that the whole Golus was persecution of the Jewish people. The last kufa is not persecution of the Jewish people, only it's a war. The Rishonim are fighting a war against Hashem. That means the easiest example to find in nowadays is the High Court of Israel. That is mamish clear that their whole purpose is to fight against Hashem, fight against the Torah, to make sure that this state should be goyish. That's their whole purpose. What? You want to have Judaism in this state? No, we're going to force goyishness on you. That's what it is. That's what their purpose. There's this witch that her name is Miriam Nahor, and she's the president of the High Court. And there's somebody sitting next to her that he wears a little yarmulke. His name is Eliakim Rubinstein. And what's their purpose? Hashem, you want Eretz Yisrael to be a place of Ashras HaShechina? Get out of here! We don't want you here. This is goyish. There's Uganda, there's South Africa, there's Poland, there's an America, and there's Israel. You want to make us different, that your Shekhinah is going to rest here? Get out! We rule this place. And that is what we're going through now. That's the last kufa. Now, last time when I talked, we left off with a question. What does all this have to do with us in our houses, in our Dalet Amas, where we live? Baruch Hashem, we keep Torah and mitzvahs, we have B'nai Torah, there's shuls, there's shiurim, there's simcha and Yiddishkeit in our neighborhoods. What does all this have to do with us? But the thing is like this. It says the Novi Malachi in Perek Beis Posuk Yud Zayin says, Ben Morchem, that you say, the Posuk starts, Hogatim Hashem b'divrechem. You made Kibiyochol, you made Hashem tired with your words. Babatim b'mahu gonu. What did we do to make him tired? Ben Morchem, you say, Kol oseh ra tov b'einei Hashem, u'bohem hu chofetz. There's going to be a time that they are going to say, the oseh ra is tov b'einei Hashem. There's going to be such a time, maybe. L'chor, it's a kasha Rav Mordechai Bagramansky, because what other time could this be talking talking about, if not our time. But the Navi Malachi was talking to his time also. He says, but there is such a thing as people that say, Kol osei ra tov b'nei Hashem. The pshat is like this. What's it? Okay. So you see, there are people who say such a thing. And I don't know if the Navi was talking to people who are what they call chilonim. I don't even know if there was such a thing in those days, in the time of the beginning of Kufas Bais Sheni. But he was talking, maybe, I think, to Fruma Yidden. There are Fruma Yidden that they say, Kol osei ra tov b'nei Hashem. Now, who says it? Where do they say it? I think that we could say on ourselves, we're like ants that are living in their hole under the ground. And I once saw a picture of the ant holes, that there's paths and there's tunnels, and there are different places over there. They have it's a whole world under the ground over there where the ants live, and they think that that's it, that's the world. And somebody goes outside and he brings one grain of wheat, and oh, he's a millionaire. He has a grain of wheat. It's Yodua the Chazal that they say that the ant, he lives on 1.5 chitim, 1.5 grains of wheat in his whole lifetime. And he doesn't live more than half a year, I think. And they think that's life, and that's called a millionaire, that he has 1.5 grains. And we have a whole world over here under the ground, and that's it. What else is there? The ants don't know any more than that. We're the same thing. We're living in a world where the Rishonim are successful. And it looks like their war against Hashem, they succeeded in their war against Hashem. And we're living in that, and we don't even know how much it influenced us. And I want to demonstrate this with a story from Rabbi yehoshea diskin. Rabbi yehoshea diskin was a young bocher. I don't know exactly what age, 15, 16 maybe. He was already Adam Gadol, and none of us reached close to him. It was a tremendous genius he was. And I'm not saying this because I read it in books. I once had a seder with a good friend of mine, Nachman Rutner. We had a seder once a week. We're learning a tshuva from Shuleb Diskin.
You mean Rav Caplan?
Yeah.
You mean Nachman Rutner, the grandson of the Spinka Rebbe?
He's the grandson of the Spinka Rebbe, right. His mother is the daughter of the Spinka Rebbe.
Which one?
What?
Which one? What's the family name?
The Spinka Rebbe's name was Kana.
Kana, okay.
And he's a grandson, and we're a chashuva family in the Hasidic world. And he and we made a seder to learn once a week, and I chose a sefer we should learn. So I once suggested that we should learn a tshuva from Rabbi yehoshea diskin. A week after week, we went a little more, and we saw, Mamish, brilliant, we saw it is. Now,
which sefer?
The tshuva, there's only one sefer. The tshuva is my real diskin. So it was a tshuva about an aguna. So Rabbi Shulei, when he was a young bocher, he thought until he doesn't understand. He told over in his, I guess later he said over the story, he doesn't understand what's the difference between me and my father. His father was also Adam Gadol Ma'od. His father was a Talmid of the Nesivos. Nesivos HaMishput, famous sefer on Choshen Mishput. His father was a Talmid of his Rabbi Yamin Diskin, was also a very big Gadol. And he couldn't understand what's the difference between me and my father. My father is a Talmid Chacham, and I'm also a Talmid Chacham. My father is a genius, I'm also a genius. What's the difference? Because I'm young, so what? Until one day he said something happened and he saw there is a difference. was that there was a freifeld, there was a fire in some shtetl nearby, and a Sefer Torah got part of a Sefer Torah got burnt. And one of the people of the city came with the burnt klav, parts of the burnt Sefer Torah came to Rabbi Daniel diskin to ask. He wanted to ask, what should we do? What kind of tikkun should we do on this? And he brought the burnt Sefer Torah with him. And when Rabbi Daniel diskin saw the parts of the burnt Sefer Torah, he fainted. Rabbi yehoshea saw that. He said, now I see that I'm not the same like my father, because he fainted and I didn't faint. That means he was a genius. He knew Torah Kula, and he asked brilliant kashas, and he said brilliant terutzim, and he wrote brilliant tshuvas already at such a young age. And there's even a story that his father gave him to write a tshuva for a certain ha-goan, and his father relied on him. When he was even, could even be, was before bar mitzvah he was. And yet he saw that his father fainted. Is the pshat is that Rabbi Daniel diskin was on such a madrega that he felt that Torah, there's nothing, we have nothing without Torah. There's mamish nothing. And if a Sefer Torah gets burnt, it's like the world got burnt. It's like as if there's no world. It's as if everything was destroyed. It's like seeing the Churban Beis HaMikdash it was, and he fainted. It's like everything came to an end, he felt. And his son, Rabbi yehoshea, with all his godliness and with all his kedusha v'tara that he had at a young age, but that madrega he didn't yet have. He didn't faint. As if to say, the world can go on. The Sefer Torah was burned, but the Torah is still here, Yiddishkeit is still here. We can go on with life. These are madregas that we're very, very far from. But it's shaykh to us also, all this. And now that the Rishonim were so successful in their war, and we're living in this situation where there's such a thing as Eretz Yisrael being run by a government of Chilonim, being run without Torah, that we're living in such a matzav that not only you can live without Torah, you can even have your own country, which is called a Jewish state, without Torah and without Yiddishkeit, together with a war against Hashem. There can be such a thing. Who knows what kind of influence that has on us, how far we are. It's as if deep down in our neshamas there might be a machshava that, okay, we're from and we do everything, but there is a world out there also. And that's a world in itself, and it's also a world that we have this feeling, and who knows what this Shorish Para Rosh V'lan, who knows what it does and what kind of ashpos it does. We see nowadays in the last Kufa, Rahman al-Itzlan, we've seen such a thing. In the best houses we've seen boys, teenagers that took off the yarmulke, which in my opinion is one of the chamuras sheba chamuras. You might ask, the poskim, according to the poskim, it's not even maybe not even I said they're abonin, it's a minik Yisrael. But I say, if you look at the psychology behind it, first of all, you grew up in a frum house and you can do such a thing. That's like an announcement that I took myself out of this klal and I belong to those that are Talmidei HaSoten. You can, how is it possible, such a thing nowadays? It's all because we're living in such a world where the Soten isn't what, where the Soten Sitne Notzach, the Gemara says.
Rabbi Caplan, we have a few seconds left. You want to? We'll stop now and we'll begin part two.